12s, we got to win. It's kind of ironic that I'm saying this because this is the Chicago White Sox announcer, and we just happened to beat the Bears for the first victory of the season. But you can put it on the board, yes! The Seahawks finally have a game in the win column. All right, very refreshing. Very, very relieved. The panic button will not be pressed, and still a chance that we could press the panic button, but it is not at the point where the finger is on the button, so to speak. The Seahawks took a very, very big step today to getting their season back on track, now with a record of 1-2. Where, for my predictions, I now sit at 2-1 on the season in terms of predictions. So this game was supposed to turn into a blowout. Like I said in my preview video, Seattle has a tendency to take care of business in a very dominating way in home openers. And that's exactly what happened as the Seattle Seahawks pitched a shutout 26-0 over the Chicago Bears. Going over some stats, for first downs, Chicago had 7 compared to Seattle 17. Passing downs, 12-2 in favor of Seattle. Rushing first downs, 5 apiece. Third down efficiency, which we'll talk more about later, 3 for 13 for Chicago and 5 for 16 for Seattle. Seattle took some risks on fourth down conversions twice, and it paid off twice, so that was good. And they outgained Chicago 371 yards compared to Chicago's 146. So that is good. The defense, now, the good thing is when you win, it takes care of everything. It doesn't really matter if you win by 1 or 2 or you win by 26. As long as you get it done, you get it done. So I'm going to go over some of the positive stuff, and then I'd like to go over some of the stuff that I like to see the Seahawks improve. I cannot complain about the defense. The defense in company did what they needed to do against a struggling Chicago Bears team. They did not allow a single point, which is great, particularly when you're dealing with a backup quarterback, which is even better. They held Jimmy Clausen to 63 yards passing. He averaged 3.7 yards per pass, was sacked twice, and he ended up with a quarterback rating of 21.9. All contribute to the defense. So the other thing that was great was special teams. We'll start. This actually was Seattle's. This was the first touchdown, but it was the second kickoff return that I'm going to talk about. Tyler Lockett runs the ball into the end zone for his second kickoff touchdown return of the season. This time he had a punt return for a touchdown against St. Louis. Now he has a kickoff return for a touchdown, which is great. And it was his only one of the game. 105 yards for that touchdown, and it gave the Seattle Seahawks a 12-0 lead, pending the extra point attempt, which was good. They stretched out to 13. And then Richard Sherman. This is actually the quote from Steve Rabel, the play-by-play for the Seattle Seahawks, play-by-play announcer. He said that the Seattle Seahawks pulled to St. Louis. And I didn't get a chance to watch this game, but I was able to listen to the majority of it on the radio. So basically what happened is the Bears kicked it off. All of the Bears defenders and the Seattle Seahawks, the majority of them, went on one side of the field. They faked him out. The ball was kicked to Richard Sherman. He ran it into the red zone, and it set up Seattle's first field goal. On that particular punt return, Richard Sherman ran 64 yards. So special teams were good there. As far as the kicking game, Steven Hauschka, perfect on the day, 4 for 4 with a long of 48 yards. Very, very nice. Okay, so usually when there are blowouts, people are celebrating a win, particularly with this case of Seattle's first victory. You know, people can kind of start calming down and, kind of start looking past those first 2 games. But there are 2 things that are concerning coming out of this game. First thing, now I understand that the offense scored The offense scored, if you take away Tyler Lockett's touchdown, they scored 19 points. All right? They scored 19 points. Okay? They were able to outscore the Chicago Bears. That's good. I also understand that the offense had a grand total of 371 yards of offense. That's good. I also understand that the backup running back for Marshawn Lynch, Thomas Reyes, was very, very good while Marshawn was injured, as we'll talk about that in just a second. Which is also good. What's not good is that this is the third week in a row where the offense has gotten off to a slow start. The only reason why, now I didn't see or was able to hear the second field goal as the first half wrapped up for the Seattle Seahawks, but the only reason why the Seattle Seahawks were up 3-0 before that happened was because of the Richard Sherman punt return. That's the only reason why, because Richard Sherman put the Seattle Seahawks in good field position for them to at least come away with the field goal. Okay, they got off to a slow start in St. Louis. They got off to a slow start. They got off to a slow start in St. Louis and Green Bay. Now they're getting off to a slow start at home. And that's concerning. That's very concerning. Now, for the most part, Pete Carroll and his squad are second half teams. Like you could say, actually, you can make that case for both the individual weeks and the individual games. You can also say that that's the case for the season. And also, ultimately, that's actually a good thing because you want to play your best football at the end of the season when you're in the playoff hunt. And also, it shows that Pete Carroll and his coaching staff are very, very good at making adjustments as the season progressed. However, the offense would make everybody's lives a lot easier if they were to put up these types of numbers in the first half and wake up sooner. And I bring this up because even though we got the Detroit Lions coming in and they're 0-3, the defense is not going to be able to pitch a shutout every single time, nor, unlike next week, which I'll talk about later on in my preview video for the Lions game, the defense is not going to be going up against teams like the Chicago Bears, who have a backup quarterback and are dealing with a plethora of injuries. We need to put pressures on teams quicker. If we can get teams to start throwing the ball quicker compared to what it's been the last couple of weeks, this team will win games. But this has been a common theme. We struggled against the Rams, Packers. Now we're struggling against the Bears, a team, at least for the first half, we were struggling against a team that was almost giving up 40 points a game at home. And yet we were only able to get 6 points in that first half. 6 points against a team that's giving up almost 40 points in our house. Now, that's concerning. That's an incredibly slow start. So I would like to see the offense start getting it together. I think it's a little bit of, it's a combination of everything. I think everybody can be to blame. I know people say, oh, Darrell Bevel, our offensive coordinator, makes poor play calling decisions. But I honestly think the play calling, the lack of execution, the lack of protection with the offensive line, the lack of the running game with the exception of this week, I think all of these things are playing a role on why the offense is getting off to a slow start. Now, the good thing is the offense is making adjustments. We've seen throughout the first 3 weeks of the season that they are able to go into the locker room at halftime and make the adjustments. They come up firing in the third quarter. That's good, but we should not be putting ourselves in that type of position. Because until Tyler Lockett ran that kickoff return back for a touchdown, I can guarantee you everybody was thinking in their minds, this offense is off to a slow start again. And it wasn't until after that moment when the Hawks really got going and turned this game into a blowout. So that's the first concern. The second concern, and I'm really hoping that this is a minor concern, is that Marshawn Lynch was listed questionable with a calf injury going into the game. He left the game with a hamstring injury. We do not know the extent of the injury. However, Pete Carroll, which I'm really happy he's quoted saying this on ESPN.com. It's nothing to be alarmed by. That's good, but if we don't know what that extent of that injury is, and if Marshawn Lynch is not healthy, that's going to put more pressure on Russell Wilson. And I believe, even though Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback, I think that he is a winner. I am a Russell believer, but I think one of the reasons why he's been so successful is because he's had Lynch running the ball. For the most part, with the exception of maybe this year, because of the offensive line, Russell Wilson really hasn't had to worry about the running game because he's had Marshawn Lynch. Pending this injury, it could spell trouble for the Seattle Seahawks. So I am really hoping that when Pete Carroll says it's nothing to get alarmed about, I'm really hoping that's the case. But again, overall, 26-0 over a team the Seattle Seahawks should have taken care of and blown out. I'll take any day. I'm not going to sugarcoat that either way. And also, it's nice to come on and talk about a win. Very nice to talk about a win on Sunday before we take a look toward the next game. All right, so that will do it for our recap with the Bears game. Seattle improves to 1-2. Chicago drops to 0-3. To wrap this up, we're going to go over an NFL scoreboard. We will start with the Thursday night football game. The Redskins lost to the New York Giants in the Meadowlands, 32-21. The Atlanta Falcons, holy cow, put up 24 unanswered second half points to come back and beat the Dallas Cowboys 39-28 in Dallas. Atlanta improves to 3-0. The Cowboys drop to 2-1. The Indianapolis Colts edge the Tennessee Titans 35-33 in Tennessee. The Oakland Raiders, congratulations to Shad. Your Oakland Raiders have won 2 games in a row. I don't remember the last time that happened, but congratulations. They take down the Cleveland Browns 27-20 in Cleveland. Cincinnati sends the Baltimore Ravens to their first 0-3 start under the John Harbaugh era. So congratulations to the Cincinnati Bengals for taking a commanding 3-0, taking their record to 3-0 and a lead in the division. They beat the Ravens 28-24. One of my friends is a Patriots fan, and she was worried that the Patriots were going to lose to the Jaguars. I think the Patriots definitely put those fears to rest as they romp over the Jaguars 51-17. The New Orleans Saints fall to the Carolina Panthers 27-22 in Carolina. The Philadelphia Eagles, after playing probably the worst football game I've ever seen in my life, take down the New York Jets in the Meadowlands 24-17. In Houston, the Houston Texans get their first win of the season 19-9 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was the Vikings victorious in Minneapolis 31-14 over the Chargers. The Pittsburgh Steelers take down the St. Louis Rams 12-6 despite Ben Roethlisberger getting injured in that game. Arizona all over the San Francisco 49ers, and they right now lead the NFC West with a 3-0 record. Everybody else is 1-2. They beat the Santa Clara 49ers 47-7. Then we have the Buffalo Bills all over the Miami Dolphins 41-14. And then to wrap up with the Sunday night game, it was the Broncos 24, the Detroit Lions 12. Broncos are now 3-0. Detroit is 0-3. And that was the games that took place today. We got one more game that's going to happen tomorrow, and that will be the Green Bay Packers, the 2-0 Green Bay Packers hosting the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football with the record of 1-1. So that will do it. Thanks very much for watching. Very, very good win with the Seattle Seahawks. Just want, like I said, just want to work on that offense, get off to a faster start. And we got the Detroit Lions coming up next. So coming up, hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully this video will get up tomorrow night. Today is Sunday, September 27th, and it is approximately 11:30 p.m. So I will film the preview, the Detroit Lion preview, as soon as possible tomorrow night and get that up as soon as possible. Hope to get that up at least by Tuesday morning. So thanks very much for watching. And again, the Seattle Seahawks are victorious over the Chicago Bears, 26-0. See you later, and go Hawks.